Welcome back, everybody. Today we're doing a deep dive into People by You by Jeb Blount.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be looking at what makes people successful in business and sales.
Right.
And get this, today's all about you.
That's right.
Yes.
This book really caught my eye because it kind of pushes back against all this emphasis on technology and process, that we see
Yeah.
so much of today.
Hmm.
It's a good reminder of how important that human connection is in business.
So are you saying ditch the CRM, ditch the marketing automation?
No.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But Blount debunks some pretty common sales myths in this book,
Right.
right?
Like one of the big ones is that friends buy from friends.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds good, you know,
Sure.
but he tells a story about a deal he lost, even though he was close with the client.
Oh, really?
And it's a good reminder that solving a customer's problem is what really matters. You're
Right.
not just there to be buddies with them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So if it's not about friendship, is it all about being liked? Well, another one of those sayings, people buy from people they like.
He tackles that one too.
Yeah.
And likability is definitely important.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
It's the foundation for any relationship.
Yeah.
But Blount argues it's just a starting point.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. You might enjoy talking with someone at a party,
Mm-hmm.
but would you buy a car from them just because they're nice?
Probably not.
Probably not, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. There's a
Yeah.
difference between someone being likable and them actually being the right person to solve your problem.
Exactly. And he gives an example of that, a sales call with a guy named Scott, a VP at a bread company.
Okay.
And at first, Scott was really closed off.
Mm.
But then they toured the plant and he totally opened up.
Mm.
That's when Blount realized that it's about more than just surface level charm,
Yeah.
It's about really connecting with people to figure out what makes them tick.
So likability is important,
Mhm.
but it's like the entry point. Got to use that to dig deeper and really figure out how to help somebody.
That's a great way to put it.
So how do you boost your likability?
Right.
Especially if you're not like naturally charismatic. Some people just have that.
It sounds simple, but a genuine smile can work wonders.
Yeah.
It makes people feel at ease.
Sure.
Blount tells this story about a dentist, Dr. Hampton,
Okay.
who was great at putting even the most scared patients at ease.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just because of his smile and kind demeanor.
Interesting.
It shows that a little warmth can go a long way.
It's amazing how such a small thing can like totally change the feel of an interaction,
Absolutely.
but it can't just be smiling.
Right.
What else?
Active listening is huge.
Mm-hmm.
When someone feels like you're really listening to them.
Yeah.
It shows respect,
Mhm.
makes them feel valued.
You're...
Blount talks about why listening is so hard for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. Why is that?
Our brains are just naturally wired to be kind of self-centered.
Oh, tell me about it.
Huh.
Sometimes I'm so focused on what I'm going to say next,
Right.
I completely miss what the other person's saying.
We've all been there.
It's like I'm just waiting for my turn to talk.
Yeah.
So how do we get better at it?
Well, the good news is we can improve.
Yeah.
You got to pay attention, ask questions to keep the conversation going,
Okay.
and really overcome those roadblocks to engagement.
What roadblocks?
Well, sometimes we just get distracted, our minds wander,
Sure.
or we think we already know what the other person's going to say.
Uh-huh.
But when you really listen to someone, you make them feel important.
Yeah.
And that feeling, that sense of being heard, it's really powerful.
Okay, so how do we push past those roadblocks and become better listeners? Any tips?
Blount suggests starting with easy questions,
Okay.
the kind that people enjoy answering.
Give me an example.
Instead of jumping into complex topics, start with something like, can you tell me more about what you do?
Mhm.
Or how do you manage to juggle all of that?
Okay.
And then really listen to their answers.
Yeah,
You're gathering clues, almost like a detective.
I like that. Approaching a conversation like a detective, that makes it fun.
Yeah. And it's not just about the words, it's about the whole picture.
Okay.
Pay attention to their facial expressions, body language, tone of voice.
Ah, so it's more than just hearing words. It's about really understanding what someone's communicating.
Exactly. Blount describes it as being intellectual while remaining empathetic. And that's what allows you to build genuine trust.
And you can't have a strong relationship without trust, right?
You got it. Trust is everything, especially in business.
Mm-hmm.
Blount uses Stephen Covey's metaphor of the emotional bank account
I like that.
to explain how it works.
Can you explain that?
Sure.
It sounds interesting.
Every interaction you have is either a deposit or a withdrawal
Okay.
from that account.
Gotcha.
Doing things that show you're trustworthy, that's a deposit.
Like what?
like keeping your promises, being respectful,
Okay.
delivering on time.
Mm-hmm.
But when you break a promise or act inconsistently, that's a withdrawal.
Ah, I see.
And too many withdrawals, well, the trust erodes.
It's like a real bank account. If you keep withdrawing money and never put any in, you're going to be in trouble.
Exactly. So you want to make sure you're making more deposits than withdrawals.
So how do we make sure we're doing that? How do we build trust?
Well, actions speak louder than words.
Mm-hmm.
You're always on stage, and every interaction matters.
Okay.
So manage your behavior, be consistent, and always follow through.
So it's walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Right. And Blount suggests going the extra mile.
What does that mean?
It means doing a little more than expected.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised how much those small acts of kindness can make a difference.
Okay, give me an example.
Something as simple as a handwritten thank you note.
Oh, yeah.
In a whirl of emails and texts, that personal touch really stands out.
I'm so guilty of just sending a quick email.
Yeah,
You're right. A handwritten note feels a lot more genuine.
They really do. Blount suggests making it a habit.
Okay.
Carry note cards and stamps with you.
Mhm.
Try to send 3 to 5 notes a day.
Wow, that's a lot.
Within 24 hours of a meeting or event.
Okay.
It's a small investment of time
Yeah.
that could really pay off in the long run.
So it's those old school methods. Sometimes they're still the most effective.
Often, yeah.
So it comes down to building those genuine connections, right? That's what leads to success.
Exactly. It's about becoming someone people want to work with, someone they trust and respect.
So we've covered likability, active listening, building trust. It seems like all those are crucial for building that foundation.
Yeah.
Before you can even think about making a sale,
Right.
what's the next step in the journey? Where do we go from here?
Well, once you have that foundation, it's time to unleash your secret weapon.
Intrigue me.
You.
Okay.
We're talking personal branding.
I'm ready to unleash.
Right.
What exactly does personal branding mean? Like in a practical sense.
Yeah.
It's got to be more than just promoting yourself, right?
You're right. It's much more than that.
Okay.
It's about showcasing your unique value, managing how people perceive you, and becoming known as a problem solver in your field.
So it's about creating a brand that really represents you, your skills, your experience, your values.
Yeah, packaging that all up into a cohesive message.
So how do you do that?
Well, it's about being intentional and strategic
Okay.
with how you present yourself to the world.
Can you give me some examples?
Yes,
Like,
sir.
how do you do that?
Blount highlights 3 key areas.
Okay.
Becoming an expert,
Okay.
leveraging your support team,
Uh-huh.
and managing those labels people put on us.
Okay, let's dive into each of those.
Right.
First up, becoming an expert. What does that mean in practice?
It's about being a go-to resource in your field.
Hmm.
You don't need to know everything,
Okay.
but you need to be recognized as someone who has valuable knowledge.
All right, so how do we become experts? That sounds kind of daunting.
It's a continuous process.
Yeah.
Take advantage of free training, go to industry events, read books and articles.
Yeah.
Just constantly be curious.
So be a lifelong learner.
Exactly. The more you know, the more valuable you become.
And probably the more confident you feel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it all ties back to building that strong personal brand.
Okay, what about leveraging your support team? Why is that important for personal branding?
Well, none of us succeeds alone.
Yeah, that's true.
We all need people in our corner. Blount talks about strong relationships with colleagues, mentors, support staff.
Okay.
These are the people who can give you insights, connect you with the right resources, open doors to new opportunities.
So build that network of support.
Precisely.
Okay.
And it's a two-way street. Communicate with your team, keep them informed, show appreciation.
Gotcha.
They're a vital part of your journey.
What was that third one again?
Managing labels.
Okay, yeah.
People are quick to label others based on their observations,
Oh, yeah.
and these labels can stick, whether they're accurate or not.
That can be so frustrating.
It happens to everyone. But Blount says we have more control than we realize.
How so?
We control our behavior.
Okay.
If you want to be seen as hardworking, trustworthy, a team player,
Yeah.
you have to actively demonstrate those qualities.
So take ownership of your personal brand.
Exactly. And if you find yourself unfairly labeled,
Yeah.
address it directly with the person who has that perception.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes a conversation is all it takes.
That can be tough, but important.
It is. It's about advocating for yourself.
Yeah.
Making sure you're seen accurately.
So personal branding is an ongoing process.
It's not a one-time thing.
Yeah.
It's about constantly refining and evolving your brand as you grow.
So you're not just building a brand, you're building you.
Yeah, that's it.
It's about becoming the best and most authentic version of yourself
Right.
and letting that shine through.
That's the real power of personal branding.
So what are some specific tips for building a strong personal brand? Things people can do right away?
Blount's a big advocate for lifelong learning. Take advantage of free training. Write articles or blog posts.
Oh yeah, I've been meaning to start a blog.
Do it. It's a great way to share your expertise.
Okay.
Another powerful tool is public speaking.
Oh, I don't know about that one.
A lot of people are afraid of it,
Yeah,
but it's a fantastic way to stand out.
makes sense. Most people avoid it.
Exactly.
I'm noticing a theme here.
What's that?
Personal branding requires taking initiative, stepping outside your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
It's about being proactive.
It's not about being perfect.
Yeah.
It's about constant improvement.
So we talked about becoming an expert, the importance of your support team, how to manage labels, sharing your knowledge through writing and speaking.
Right.
It feels like we've barely scratched the surface.
There's so much more to explore.
Well, don't worry, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll be back in part 2 of this deep dive to uncover even more insights from people by you. Stay tuned.
Sounds good. Welcome back, deep divers. Ready for more People by You.
Oh, absolutely. We were just getting to the good stuff, right? Personal branding and all that.
Exactly. And in today's world, you got to have a strong online presence.
Yeah, makes
It's
sense.
a big part of your brand.
So it's not enough to just have a LinkedIn profile anymore.
Well, it's a start,
Yeah.
but you got to think bigger.
Okay.
Think of your online presence like a storefront. You want it to be inviting, informative,
Yeah.
just like a physical store.
So how do you do that? Like, where do you even begin?
First, take a look at what you're already doing online.
Mm-hmm.
What platforms are you using? What message are you sending?
Yeah.
Does it all match the brand you're trying to build?
A lot of people just kind of jump into social media without really thinking about it, huh?
Yeah, that's true. Blount says you got to start by identifying your target audience.
Okay.
Who are you trying to reach?
Makes sense.
Then you got to figure out what platforms they use.
So it's about being strategic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not just about posting random stuff.
Yeah, you got to be mindful of the impression you're making.
Right. And you want to create content that's actually valuable to your audience.
So things like blog posts, articles, videos.
Yeah, anything that shows off your expertise.
Got it.
And don't forget engagement. Talk to your followers. Respond to comments.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be a two-way street.
Right. You're building a community, not just broadcasting a message.
Okay, so building an online brand is about community engagement, valuable content.
And consistency. It's got to
Yeah.
match what you're doing offline, too.
We've been talking a lot about the digital world,
Yeah,
but I want to go back to something Blount talks about a lot, human connection.
absolutely.
It's the heart of his message.
It's easy to get lost in the tech and forget that business is about people.
Yeah, for sure. So what does he say about creating positive emotional experiences?
He says it's about making people feel good.
Okay,
When you do that, they want to reciprocate.
interesting.
It's the law of reciprocity.
Ah, like making deposits in that emotional bank account.
Exactly.
Mm.
And these positive experiences don't have to be big things.
Right.
It could be something small, like remembering a client's birthday.
Or sending a handwritten note.
Yeah, just showing that you care.
It's the little things.
They really add up.
Grant tells a great story about Bear Bryant.
Oh yeah, the football coach.
It really stuck with me.
I love that story. It's
I-
a perfect example of going the extra mile.
Can you remind me what it's about?
Sure. Blount was having dinner with Coach Bryant,
Okay.
and Bryant was telling him about a thank you letter he got
From who?
from a young man who decided to play football for Alabama.
Okay.
And Blount asked the guy what made him write such a heartfelt letter.
What did he say?
Turns out, years earlier, his grandfather met Coach Bryant at a gas station.
A gas station. That's random.
I know, right? But the grandfather was a huge Alabama fan.
Makes sense.
So meeting Bryant was like a dream come true.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And Bryant, being the kind guy he was,
Mm-hmm.
chatted with the grandfather,
Mm-hmm.
signed a picture, and promised to send him another one from his office.
He sounds like a good guy.
He was. And he kept his promise, sent that picture.
Okay.
Years later, when the grandson was deciding where to play football,
Mm-hmm.
he remembered that story.
Wow.
And it made him want to play for Alabama.
That's incredible.
It shows how powerful those little acts of kindness can be.
Even years later.
Exactly.
So create these positive experiences doesn't have to be complicated or expensive.
Not at all. Blount suggests having a system for follow-up.
Okay, like what?
Set reminders, use a CRM, get an assistant.
So make it a priority.
Right. Got to be organized and proactive.
Got it.
We get out of relationships what we put into them.
So it's an investment.
Exactly. And it pays off in the long run.
So shift from a transactional mindset to a relational mindset.
I like that. It's about building those connections.
Yeah, it's not just about closing deals.
It's about the people.
Okay, so what else can people do to create these positive experiences?
Take good notes about the people you meet. Don't just write down business stuff.
What else?
Remember their names, families, interests, birthdays.
Oh, I'm terrible with names.
Use technology to help you.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Put in your CRM, set reminders.
Right.
Blount even talks about hiring an assistant.
Never thought of that.
It can make a big difference.
Okay, so be organized, use technology, be thoughtful.
And be consistent.
Right, it's got to be a habit.
Exactly. The seeds you plant today will grow in the future.
It all comes back to relationships.
It really does. That's what it's all about.
So we've talked about likability, listening, trust, going the extra mile, personal branding, creating positive experiences.
Takes a lot.
It feels like it's all connected.
It is. It's a whole approach to success.
One that recognizes that human element.
That's what makes the difference.
Wow. This deep dive has been amazing.
I agree.
It's really changed how I think about success in business.
People Buy You is a great book. It really makes you think.
Okay, so we covered a lot in this part.
We did.
Online presence, positive experiences, using technology to build relationships. But there's still more to come. Welcome back, deep divers. This deep dive into People Buy You has been so energizing.
I know, right?
We've uncovered so much about human connection in business.
Yeah, it's not just about sales techniques, is it?
No, it's about how we approach relationships.
And ultimately, success.
Exactly. We've covered likability, trust, personal branding, creating those positive experiences.
It all comes back to the human element.
It's not just about transactions, it's about genuine connection.
And recognizing that those connections are what drive lasting success.
Not just quick wins.
Yeah, it's about having people who trust you, respect you, and want to work with you.
Because of the value you bring.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up, let's talk key takeaways.
Okay.
What should listeners remember from People Buy You?
Well, I think the biggest thing is right there in the title.
Okay.
People buy you. Not your product, not your company. You.
That's powerful.
It's about letting your authentic self shine through.
Not hiding behind some corporate mask.
Exactly. Be yourself, be genuine, be kind, be trustworthy.
Be passionate.
Yeah, be passionate about helping others.
And Blount gives us a roadmap for how to do that, right?
He does. It's not just vague concepts.
He gives real advice, things we can actually do.
Practical tips for everything from listening skills to building rapport.
To creating those positive experiences.
Right. He even talks about managing those labels people put on us.
And he encourages us to keep learning and growing, right?
Absolutely. Becoming an expert, leveraging your team.
Always looking for ways to improve.
That's key.
And of course, personal branding. Crafting that image that reflects your value.
Telling your story in a way that connects with people.
It's a journey, isn't it?
It is. It's ongoing.
Always evolving.
Exactly.
You know, it's more than just a sales book.
It really is.
It's a philosophy for life.
About building meaningful relationships.
And making a positive impact.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Blount makes us think differently about success.
He does. It's not just about climbing the ladder.
It's about becoming the best version of ourselves.
And making a contribution.
Exactly. He reminds us that the most powerful tool we have is ourselves.
Our talents, our skills, our experiences.
It's about embracing who we are and using it to make a difference.
This deep dive has been incredible.
It really has. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of connection and relationships.
Me too.
Hopefully our listeners feel the same.
I think they do. People Buy You is such a powerful book.
So as we wrap up this episode, let's challenge our listeners.
Right.
What's one action you're committed to taking to unleash the power of you?
I'm going to try to incorporate at least one positive emotional experience into my day every day.
I like that.
Whether it's a handwritten note, remembering a birthday, or just a genuine compliment.
It's about spreading kindness.
Exactly.
I'm going to finally start that blog I've been putting off.
Good for you.
Time to share my knowledge with the world.
We're all rooting for you.
Well, deep divers, we hope you enjoyed this journey into People Buy You.
It's been a pleasure.
Remember, the power is within you. Go out there and make those connections, build those relationships, and unleash your full potential.
Until next time, keep diving deep.